Peptides are absolutely exploding right now. There's a lot of claims out there on top of peptides, building muscle, being great for anti-aging, gut health, you name it. There's a peptide for literally everything. I get a DM or email or text almost maybe 5 times a day asking to start a peptide company or be part of one. And so I have done a ton of research. I use peptides myself, and I thought it'd be a great video for you guys to educate you and cut through the BS. So I'm gonna be ranking these peptides from F tier, absolute garbage, to S tier, just the tip of the spear in terms of peptides. I'm gonna be rating these on a number of factors. All right, the first peptide we are going to be looking at today is one of my favorites, and it's fun to start off with a great one, and that is Retatrutide. You might also hear people talking about it as Reta, because it's like for some reason hard for people to say. But essentially this is what's called GLP. So this is technically the newest age of GLP, a GLP-3. It works in 3 different ways. As opposed to semaglutide, which was the first GLP to be released, which only worked in one mechanism. So this peptide activates 3 receptors at the same time. You've got the GLP-1, which I mentioned, you've got GIP, and then you've got glucagon. So this one works to not only suppress appetite, but it also accelerates metabolism. So it is a very cool compound because not only are you getting that hunger blunting effect, and I've been taking Reta, full transparency, for about a year and change. And what it does is this weird thing, like I take it in a dose that's very moderate, where it just reduces food noise. You don't just like think about food. You're very, like you're hungry. I'm hungry for my meals and I'm excited to eat. And I don't think you should ever take a GLP or any type of tool like this to the point where it is so hunger suppressing that it makes you feel like almost nauseous. Like that's not what they're meant for. Like you shouldn't feel like you don't want to eat. You should feel like you're ready for your meals, but it just reduces that food noise. What I mean by that is, like right now when I'm sitting here and I'm filming, I'm not thinking about my next meal. Like I'll be ready for it when we're done filming and I'll be excited to eat, but it's such a different feeling of being like, oh my God, like I'm starving and I'm in prep right now. And I think that's something that I get. You could call me like soft or whatever, but if I have a tool that's very low risk and very high outcome, to me, I'm gonna use that tool, right? I'm trying to make the process as seamless as possible. I know some people get in that suffer mentality. If you guys wanna check out my biggest bodybuilding mistakes, that's something I talked about very frequently, was it shouldn't feel like it sucks, guys. And when you're bulking, if you're getting so much biofeedback that you're just like stuffed all the time, like that's not good. And for your, like, if you're dieting and you're trying to meet a caloric deficit and you're just like hating all your meals because you just feel like your coach is telling you, okay, it's fish and broccoli and rice every single meal, or like I've had like people that I talk to that start the day with like chicken and broccoli for breakfast. Like I just don't think that. You might trick yourself into thinking it's cool and it's great, but I don't think that for the long term it's sustainable. It's going to create an unhealthy relationship with food. So my thing is create that deficit. Of course, you need to be in a caloric deficit. You have to have that energy balance being shifted to the point where you're burning more calories than you're consuming. You want to keep food quality high. This, to me, Reta has almost helped me with that in the sense of reduces cravings. It allows me to eat the foods that I love. For me, it helps my sleep a lot, because when I'm in deep in prep, I don't know if this happens to you guys, but I will wake up in the middle of the night starving. It's impossible for me to go down, like back to sleep, and I'll go down and try these tricks of like drinking a glass full of BCAAs. It's terrible. So for me, Retatrutide's changed my life. I'm just gonna be 100% with you guys. I don't want you to take this as, oh, Eric's doing it, so I should do it. But like, if I'm gonna put my stamp of approval on a certain type of compound or peptide in this case, Retatrutide and any of the GLPs, I've tried Tesamorelin as well, it's also terrific. And so that's kind of like a second tier, it's already FDA approved. So if you feel more comfortable doing something that's FDA approved, I would go with Tesamorelin over semaglutide, because that works in 2 mechanisms instead of just 1. So S tier, Reta, I am going to stand on that. And I know there's, it's very controversial, but I think as long as you don't take it at a dose that's hunger suppressant, you're not getting digestive feedback of being backed up all the time or even nauseous, that's when you've gone too far. And I think everything, like everything else, it's a tool. If you use it in an effective dose, it can be really effective. If you overdose it, it's gonna have some negative feedback. So Reta, S tier. All right, let's go with next MOTS-c, and I'm taking it currently and it kills me. I did a ton of research for this video and I wanted to give it like an A grade, but just right now I have to give it a C tier, just because there's not enough human research to substantiate that it really does boost metabolism. So MOTS-c is really a metabolic compound. It's going to help you apparently metabolize food at a faster rate, be more insulin sensitive, but they just haven't enough studies to show that. So if I'm going to put in a video and say it's A tier just because I'm taking it, personally, I haven't found as much of an effect as red eye added it about 6-7 weeks ago. I'm losing body fat, but I'm also in a deficit. So I don't want to also say, you know, oh, it's the MOTS-c. It's like I'm also like tracking my food and trying to be in a deficit. So for me, I mean, they say kind of like improves mitochondrial signaling. So essentially like at that level, like being able to, when you eat food, just being able to mobilize at a faster clip. I think that right now it's just too soon, and that's why I'm giving it a C grade instead of a B or an A. Maybe in a year I'll change my mind and I'll put it at an A grade when there's more actual human testing, but right now MOTS-c, and especially for the price of what you get versus like the outcome, right now it's probably you get 5 or 10 milligrams for, you know, anywhere between $50 and $100, and that'll last you about a week. So it's not a cheap compound. You might be able to find it for cheaper, but as I was talking about bang for buck, I think there's other compounds on the list that will definitely be better suited to your goals. All right, now let's move on to one that I do think very highly of. This is IGF-1 LR3. It's basically a derivative of growth hormone, but downstream. So later in the list, we'll cover growth hormone secretagogues, which actually produce more of your natural levels of growth hormone. Well, this is actually a downstream component of taking growth hormone or having higher levels of natural growth hormone. This is a great compound. Pre-workout, I take 40 micrograms. I don't take it subcutaneously or intramuscular in the muscle group I'm training on. I know a lot of people stand on that. I'm a pretty firm believer of anything injected is probably going to go global pretty quickly. You're going to absorb it and it's going to run into your bloodstream, and then it's going to go global. So I would say BPC is the one I would say if you're going to inject one closer to the site, then let's say you have inflammation in your knee or shoulder, I would do BPC closer to that point. But if we're talking about like training and IGF, yeah, I'm not going to put it in my leg if I'm training chest, but I'm also not going to like jab into my chest pre-training either. So essentially this compound's meant to improve muscle protein synthesis, which is the main driver of muscle building. It just kind of facilitates the anabolic process a little bit more efficiently. So this isn't going to be one of those that you're just going to take and feel like you're on trend or something. It'll just help to facilitate that muscle protein synthesis downstream, a little faster recovery, a little better pumps, I would say, is my experience on it as well. So I'm going to give this one an A tier. There's more substantial research around it. It is an actual proven downstream of growth hormone being higher, which we obviously know is very anabolic. So I'm going to give this one A tier. All right, next we have CJC-1295 and Ipamorelin. The only reason I'm pairing these together in clinics, they're often prescribed together, even in the same vial. And so these are growth hormone secretagogues. These are meant to increase your sleep efficiency, your recovery, muscle protein synthesis, kind of like growth hormone. The only reason I'm giving this one C tier is just because it's really a mild effect as compared to, you know, the real deal growth hormone. So basically how these work is essentially it's almost like enclomiphene of growth hormone, right? Enclomiphene's meant to kind of boost your natural production of your own testosterone. This is the same thing. So you take CJC or Ipamorelin, and it's essentially going to increase your natural levels of growth hormone production. I'm not saying it doesn't do that. It clinically does do that, but it's only insofar as it's a small amount. And I think if you're talking about aesthetics, fat loss, muscle building, sleep efficiency, I just don't think you're gonna feel as much of an effect as the cost that you're going to incur to take these things. And this is one of the most expensive compounds you're gonna find in any clinic. It's almost like just comparable usually to growth hormone. You could easily get underground growth hormone for less than what a clinic would charge for Ipamorelin. If you can do that, I'm just like, what are we doing here, right? You know, get the real deal. Boost your growth hormone. I don't ever condone growth hormone beyond a level of what's reasonable, like you're getting negative biofeedback, water retention, arthritis, numbness in the hands. Right now I'm running about 6 units, and that's about as top of the threshold that I get. 3 in the morning, 3 at night. That just helps me recover better, sleep better. But yeah, give me probably a little sneak preview of what I think of GH later in the list. But yeah, for these, just mostly for the cost reason, I'm gonna give it a C tier. All right, and then let's go to one that people have been using for decades, growth hormone. I'm gonna give this one S tier. It's got plenty of human research. There's so much, substantive value in terms of, as deep as like, collagen production, sleep efficiency, muscle protein synthesis, you name it. If growth hormone is higher, these downstream systems are working at a higher clip. You're gonna build muscle a little faster. It's not, like I said, it's not gonna be one of those things like an anabolic where you'll see and feel a crazy difference. It just accelerates. And that's what I always tell people, like, take things in moderation and just let them stack on top of each other. So if you're taking a mild anabolic load, let's say a testosterone or Ipamorelin, and then you pair that with a growth hormone, maybe an IGF pre-workout, all these little things are that like 1%, 2%, 5% that all stack on top of each other. And if you can do things that are low side effect and keep your blood work good, that's a gold standard. I've never had a problem with my blood work with growth hormone. I think it's a terrific compound. S tier for me, helps me sleep better. Like literally, there's been times where I've been out and like my sleep numbers are, you can see it on my Fitbit, are like worse, like my deep sleep, my REM sleep. And so I think it does have like, it had like a 1-to-1 effect for me. And it probably sounds like I'm trying to sell you guys growth hormone, but no, I think it's just, for me, it's been a very powerful compound in my experience. All right, now let's get into GHK copper. This one is one that's really been crazy exploding recently, and I'm sure you guys are probably curious what my thoughts are on it. I'm actually about to start taking it, just I've been told to take it by like 50 people now. But this is mostly for like skin, hair, nails, more to like look younger. And anytime, we're talking about aesthetics here, guys. So if you can look better and look younger and your skin looks better, obviously it's going to improve the way your aesthetic comes across. And I think if we can take a step back in this video and look at the whole picture, if you're sleeping better, your skin's clearer, you're gonna just look better on a daily basis. And so that's aesthetics, right? I think we only ever think about what's building the most muscle, but yeah, I could put somebody on the craziest cycle. You're gonna build a lot of muscle, but you're gonna look watery, probably inflamed. Your skin's gonna look like shit. You're gonna have acne. You're probably gonna lose your hair. So I'm like, okay, we're so like invested in building muscle that sometimes we lose sight of, okay, overall health. How do we look on a daily and weekly basis? So for me, I'm gonna give this one B tier. The only reason I'm not giving it A, I just don't think we have enough research. Also, it's not FDA approved quite yet, so you can't get it at like a local clinic. So I think that I can comfortably give it B clear, because I've actually saw Jared Feather and he's been on it for a few months. This dude looks like 10 years younger. Jared, if you see this video, shout out to you. Came to the Arnold in Ohio. He walks in, I was like, dude, you look like 24 again. And he's like, yeah, man, I've just obviously gotten off this like a huge amount of the sauce and I've started adding GHK. I was like, dude, I'm taking GHK. So I think there is like in person, I've seen the effects that it has. And so that's why I'm confident giving B tier. I think with more research and more time, I think I'd be more comfortable giving A tier or even S tier. Let's get into 5-amino-1-MQ. This is something I take currently in prep. I was recommended by my coach. And I'm gonna give this one C tier, and it's literally just for that same reason. It's early stage research peptide. Essentially, it's supposed to work on an enzyme called NNMT, which essentially is associated with how fast we can burn body fat. It's another kind of metabolic pathway one. I think it's obviously very nuanced and has very limited human research. So I think that if you're gonna spend your money and you have limited funds, like Reta, either a growth hormone secretagogue or growth hormone itself, is probably gonna do a better job. Even like a MOTS-c, I think it's right in that same, that's why I put it in the same C tier. It's just like not enough substantive research to show these things work at a higher level. Plus it doesn't have that like hunger blunting capability. So let's say it's like a 3%, maybe 5% on like very high-end increase in metabolic capacity. You have to think how small these like little, tools are, right? So if we're talking 5%, let's say you were gonna burn, if we're just going off of calories, they're like 3,000 with your cardio or 3,100 with your cardio and everything. We're talking about an extra, 50 to 100 calories with these type of compounds. And I think that's on the aggressive side. So, an extra bite or two of a muffin and you're right there to match it. So I think if we're gonna be, spending our money on some things, I think this one would be C tier for me. Okay, next we have BPC 157. You hear about it in the Wolverine stack paired with TB500. I think if you do pair it with TB500, this for me is about a B tier. And I think it is a situational peptide. And what I mean by that is, you shouldn't be taking BPC all the time or for no reason. Like you should have some sort of like, I personally have only taken BPC like one time, and it was like when I had like a little bit of a flare up I had like a little strain in my adductors, and I was taking it when I was doing some stupid sprinting like 2 days post after a show and everything was super tight and dehydrated. I was like, oh, let me go do a sprinting video, and I like sprained both my adductors lightly. So I was taking some BPC, but like that's the point, is like I was taking it locally in the areas that were affected. It's one of those things where you're like, did it heal it faster? Didn't it heal faster? Was it just right on track? Was it the growth hormone I was taking that healed it faster? I didn't personally feel like, oh my God, like it was better overnight. Like it took me like a month to fully like feel like when I'd break into a jog, I wouldn't feel it. I could train legs like that week, I was fine, but it was more of like when I would emulate that same movement pattern of a sprint, I would feel it for quite some time, probably 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think for me, it really accelerated things to the point where with past injuries that were maybe synonymous in terms of the pain level, I was like, oh my God, I took BPC, it was better in like twice as fast. I don't think I felt like that. I know a lot of people have had that experience with it, so I'm not gonna give it like a C or D tier. I think that it's situational, and that's why I'm giving it a B tier, for the reason of if you're using it in a specific circumstance, like I wouldn't have you just take BPC or TB just because. If you do have an ailment, I think it's a good thing to add on. So for that reason, I'm giving it B tier. All right, now let's get into some like one that's just extremely overhyped. I've been seeing it on like shorts and stuff. Epitalon for anti-aging. It's basically one of those ones that's supposed to be like a biohacker's like wet dream. There's just like the human studies are extremely thin and inconsistent. It's mostly animal studies. It really hasn't been shown in any substantive way to do what it's supposed to do. I'm gonna give this one my first F tier. So if you're out there and you see something about Epithalon, I would save your money and either put it towards GHK if you're looking for that type of benefit, or growth hormone secretagogue for its anti-aging benefits. All right, now let's move on to Tesamorelin. So unlike the Ipamorelin, it has been really shown in human studies to be effective as a growth hormone secretagogue with the actual downstream benefits that it's meant to have in terms of the fat oxidation, sleep benefits. So this one I'm actually gonna move into B tier above the Ipamorelin. And the reason for that is just because it is substantiated with more human studies. So if you're gonna take one, either take a Tesamorelin, Ipamorelin blend, or just a Tesamorelin. And that for me, if you're really kind of like iffy about taking any actual growth hormone, or it's just out of your budget, but at the end of the day, like a really high level clinic that's prescribing you real Tesamorelin, you're likely right on par with like a really high quality UGC growth hormone. And I'm just gonna like always say, just go with the growth hormone. That's why it's S tier for me. And there's so many affordable options now that are high quality. You don't need to get, you know, like a Pfizer or something like that growth hormone that's gonna, you know, cost you $3,000 a month. It's just, that's not the reality of the situation anymore. You can get very, very good growth hormone for $200 to $300 a month and still run 5 to 6 units. And so for me, I'm giving it B tier just for the price trade-off. But I think if growth hormone didn't exist, this would be like an S tier for me, just because you wouldn't have the alternative that's actually like just a little bit more cost saving with just as much, if not way more benefits. All right, let's finish out with another one I've been hearing a lot about. That's AOD 9604. This is one that's meant to be another like fat burning, kind of like works in that growth hormone pathway, but it's had extremely underwhelming human results. There's been people who have taken that have experienced almost nothing at all. And so I think with this one of those that save your money, go with a true like tested growth hormone secretagogue, or even like a GLP 2 or 3 Reta, or tirzepatide. You're gonna get way more bang for buck. I would try to stay away from these ones that are newer and crazy and hyped, and you're seeing reels about them. I would go with the ones that are tested, and then maybe 2 or 3 years from now we'll have more information, and I might say, oh, I was totally wrong about AOD. It's actually an A tier because it's crazy, but I think based on what we're seeing right now in the human results, it's pretty underwhelming. So I'm gonna give this one actually an F tier, and I think it's extremely overwhelming and overhyped. So that is my tier list, guys. If you want to actually get into great shape, burn body fat, and have a protocol that's built for you, you guys know I'm a coach. And if you want to get coaching with me, make sure to click the link in the description to apply. Also, you guys know the Torque Gear has arrived. And if you want optimal training, that's going to be your key to success in terms of if you go to the gym and you train hard and you train effectively and you can get out and recover, which is what peptides help you do. But the training is the most important thing. If you're not getting the stimulus, you're not going to be getting the results. So make sure you get your torque gear and your HTLT supplements for all the best pre-workout, intra-workout, whey protein, Seco bars in the game. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you on the next video.